Hi everyone, I'm here with Kathy Rothenberg, and it's really a pleasure to have you here. Kathy, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's Rothenberger, but don't worry about it. Everybody mispronounces it.
Sorry.
And that's okay. My husband always gets asked if he's related to some big famous football player by the name of Roethlisberger, which even doesn't even sound like Rothenberger, but everybody asks, so it's no big deal. I tried to
So,
get my husband's name when we got married, but he was like, "No, I like that one."
so you haven't changed your name, you kept it.
No, I did change my name. I went from Garboski, which is Polish, to Rothenberger, which is German. I
German,
tried
yeah.
to get him to change his name to Garboski. He didn't like that idea. I was like, why not? It's shorter. There's less letters. He said no.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I'm really interested in hear more about it, and I'm sure there will be lots of people that will be very interested to hear about your story too. So, if you could please start by telling us, how old you were and when you got diagnosed with cancer, and what cancer did you have?
I was 59 years old when I got diagnosed in May of 19, not 19, 2018. And in a way, you know the expression waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah.
He's like waiting for something to happen. Well, my mom had gotten cancer when I was 4 years old. And for the next
Okay.
34 years, she had breast cancer. And for the next 34 years, I watched her as she struggled with it when it kept coming back and metastasizing and coming back. And I always thought that she was extremely brave and that if ever I got it, I would never be that brave. I was scared to death. So in
So,
May
so
of
just on your mom's story, that's amazing that she's, like 34 years. It's a long time. What did she, when you say struggle through? So was she doing a kind of going through conventional medicine to get on top of the cancer every time it came back, or?
she would have chemotherapy, she would have radiation, she would take tamoxifen, and she'd be fine for 5 years, and then she'd go back for a test, and they'd be like, "Oh, we hate to tell you this, but." So she never really went more than 5 years being cancer free because it kept coming back.
Okay.
And then towards the end, it was coming back a lot more often. So I was like, I would not be able to live like that. I'm a chicken. So in May of 2018, when my doctor said, "It's been a while since you had a mammogram," I was like, okay, I'll go. And the tech was taking more and more pictures, more and more pictures, more and more angles. And I said to her, "What exactly are you looking for?" She goes, "Well, there's one spot here that I can't tell if it's a shadow or what it is. So I want to make sure I get good coverage so that the doctor can see and tell me what's going on." Sounded reasonable, although I figured she was pulling my leg. And we were done. And then she said, "Okay, your doctor will call you within 3 to 5 days." Now, this was on a Thursday afternoon or a Friday afternoon. I can't remember exactly. Well, Monday morning, my doctor's office called at like 9:05. And I was like, this is not a friendly wake-up call, is it?
No.
And the nurse was like, not exactly. I said, "Did you get the results from the mammogram back?" And she goes, "Yeah. And the doctor wants to see you this afternoon." I'm like,
Oh.
oh, wonderful. Okay. So I told my husband, and we went over to the doctor in the afternoon. I walk into her office. She gets up, she gives me a big hug, and she's crying. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, good Lord.
So she's your normal, like a practitioner, like GP, kind of general practitioner.
Yeah, she's my usual GP. And I said, how bad is it? And she says, well, you've got breast cancer. I said, I figured that out already. How bad is it? She's like, how come you're laughing? Why aren't you in tears? I'm crying for you. Why are you not crying? I said, oh, don't worry about it. I will. I said, but right now I'm trying to be tough.
Yeah.
So she told me that it was a stage 1A, so it was very small.
Okay.
And that I had several different options. I could do a lumpectomy. I could have a mastectomy on that one side, or I could have a double mastectomy and get it all off so I wouldn't have to worry about it again, theoretically, in the future.
So at that point, when had they done a full biopsy already, right? Yeah. And did they check for any genetic, because obviously your mom had it, or not? No.
When I went, she referred me right away to an oncologist. The oncologist did the genetic testing right away. Weirdly, I do not have the BRCA gene. But because my mother had breast cancer, her father had stomach cancer, her brother had colon cancer, there's cancer in the family.
Yes.
So I was just the next one. So I went to the oncologist and she said, okay, these are your choices. You can have just a lumpectomy, you can have the left breast removed, or you can have them both gone, which is basically the same choice as my regular doctor told me. She said the easiest one, the least invasive one would be just a lumpectomy. I said to her, okay, but if I do the lumpectomy, there's no guarantee that it's not going to come back in 2 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever. And she's like, no, you're right. I said, well, my mom had a mastectomy and she could not look herself in the mirror for the rest of her life without being fully clothed with the prosthesis on, because she hated looking at herself lopsided in the mirror. She wouldn't even, like after she took a shower or something, she'd wrap herself in a robe or a towel right away. She couldn't look down. And I was like, I cannot live like that. I said, if one's going, they're both going. And the doctor looked at my husband and said, and what do you think about that? And God bless him, he said to her, I didn't marry Kathy for her breasts. I married Kathy, for her personality, for her brains, for her attitude. He says, I don't care if they're gone. She's still her and she will be alive.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, he's a good guy. So my oncologist said, okay, no problem, we can do this. And then I made an appointment with a surgeon who happened to be the surgeon who saved my life, no, my husband's life, I'm sorry, in a previous surgery. He was this close to dying again, and the doctor saved his life. So I was like, if anybody's going to operate on me, it's going to be your doctor. So we called his doctor, made an appointment, and he's like, and what can I help you with? And I said, I need a double mastectomy. I said, a radical one on the left side and a regular one on the right. And he's like, okay, I can do that, no problem. He says, I work with Dr. blah, blah, blah as the plastic surgeon. So what I'll do is I'll call him. We'll find a suitable date on the calendar. All three of us will go into the hospital. I will do the first surgery. He'll come behind me, do the second surgery, which is the plastic surgery part where he puts in the expanders to make room for the replacements. And bing, bang, boom, you'll be out of there in a day. So I'm like, okay.
That doctor, so you had to arrange that doctor yourself? Like you So what was he specializing, the one that you're called to operate you?
The doctor who took them off for me
Yeah.
is just a regular surgeon. He does all kinds of surgery. He's a graduate of the Royal Academy of, oh sugar, it's in Scotland. Royal Academy
But
of
I mean,
Scotland or
it's just,
something like that. Huh?
but it's just here in Australia. I believe that doctors who would perform mastectomies, or they will be just a specializer, in that. But so
Well, he
this,
probably
and
does.
also,
He specializes, quote unquote, in colon surgery
okay,
and vein surgery.
okay,
But when I told him I wanted him to do
him
my
to do it.
surgery,
Perfect.
because he also does breast surgery also, he said
Okay,
okay. He
okay.
specializes in colon and veins more so, but he also does mastectomy. So he was like, no
Mm-hmm.
problem, I can do that.
Okay.
So that was probably June of 2018.
Mm.
And my surgery was scheduled for July 5th,
Okay.
which is the day after our Independence Day.
Yeah.
So I kind of joke with my husband that I have 2 Independence Days, one which is July 4th, like everybody else, and then I get July 5th, which is my Independence Day from cancer.
Awesome.
So every year I celebrate 2 Independence Days.
So the plan was to have the surgery first, and then did the oncologist talk to you about what was going to happen afterwards, or it was just that?
He told me that he would do the surgery, then the plastic surgeon would come in and put the expanders in, and that after that surgery was done, I'd be able to go home. My cancer doctor told me that every day for 5 years I would have to take a pill, which is anastrozole, a 1 milligram anastrozole pill for the next for 5 years, to keep the cancer at bay, because the cancer that I had, the breast cancer that I had, was caused by too much estrogen in my body after my period stopped.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, and that's why you're not going to take the tamoxifen, but you're going to take this other pill.
Right, I'm not taking tamoxifen. That's the one my mom was on. I'm taking an anastrozole instead. My doctor felt that because of the specific type of cancer that I had caused by the overflow of estrogen, that the anastrozole would work better than the tamoxifen did.
So it's kind of an
Tamoxifen was,
estrogen inhibitor, the one
say
that you
that
would
again,
take.
please?
It is an estrogen inhibitor, the pill that you were taking to stop the estrogen flooding into your body.
Right.
And
So that's what I'm
again,
doing.
no, after that, no more. You didn't need any chemo, radiation.
Nope, no chemo, no radiation, no nothing. They were a little bit concerned that I would probably need radiation maybe, but it was a very small spot and it was very self-contained. It hadn't tried to wiggle its way out anywhere else. So I was extremely lucky in that regard. It was the size of a bean.
Uh-huh.
The size
And
of like a lima bean.
have they taken any lymph nodes when they did the mastectomy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did they take any lymph nodes when
Yes.
they did?
That was the radical mastectomy. Yes, that was the radical mastectomy. Radical is when they take all the lymph nodes. And thank God, when they biopsied the lymph nodes, there was no cancer in them. So I was really, really lucky, because usually that's the first place they go to after that. They just spread their little tentacles out, but it didn't. So I was very lucky on that. That's what my oncologist was checking for almost immediately.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, good. It did not go into your lymph nodes. We took them out just as a precaution, but you're good.
So before like you're diagnosed, can you remember feeling any different? Like were you feeling like more tired or, you know, anything that was a bit unusual?
I didn't feel any different than usual. However, my husband's dog would and sniff around my left breast. And I know there are dogs that can tell cancer. So I'm just wondering if maybe my husband's dog could smell it
That's
before I
interesting.
knew.
I have never heard of that. So
Yeah, there are
it,
dogs that can sense cancer,
wow, that's
and
incredible.
they smell it. And he'd come over, like, I'd just be sitting on the couch or whatever, and he'd come over and jump in my lap, and he'd put his head right here, and he'd be like sniff, 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 and I'm like, what? I put deodorant on today, dog. And then he'd look at me and he'd go back to sniffing, and he's like something's wrong, something's wrong. So I didn't really think anything of it until the diagnosis, and I'm like, huh, maybe Jack could smell it.
So it
So
was just
now,
a routine mammogram really that you found there.
routine mammogram. Yep, I had not had one in 2017. The previous one was 2016. So at some point between 2016, which was clear, and 2018, when it wasn't, that little thing showed up. That little tumor showed up.
And after, so that first surgery where they put expanders, then do you go back? Or it was your choice
I
to
have
go
not
back?
yet.
You have a
I have
reconstruction?
not yet gone back. I have
Okay.
not yet gone back for the replacement surgery because insurance, according to the federal government in America, insurance will pay for a mastectomy.
Mm-hmm.
It will pay for them to be taken off completely. It does not pay for the surgery to put them back on again because that's considered cosmetic.
Okay.
So cosmetic surgery I have to pay for, and my copay is $1,500, which I do not have. I've been trying to save it, but you know how savings goes. You get a little bit ahead and something happens and you need to spend that money. So
So
I do not have the money to get the copay to get the replacement surgery.
So is there an issue from having those expanders inside you and not having the reconstruction surgery, or?
They told me that I could wait until whenever I wanted to get the surgery done, that the expanders can stay in there indefinitely. I had them filled up with saline to a B cup size. So that's what I am right now, a B cup, but they don't look like breasts. They look like blobs, for lack of a better word, because they're not the actual shape and form of a breast. They're just like saline envelopes that are in
Mhm.
there holding the space.
Right.
So they're more like lumpy than anything else.
So if you wanted to have a reconstruction, you would have to pay for the whole thing yourself.
Yes, which is $1,500.
Right. $1,500 or 15,000? 1,500.
1,500, 1,500.
Right. Okay. So the insurance would be paying part of the insurance. Do they pay any of it? No.
That's my part of the insurance.
Okay.
After I pay the 1,500, then insurance will pick up the rest.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. So that sounds quite cheap. Okay, I got it. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And so since 2018, so you've been taking this medication, and you know, have you changed anything else in your life? I mean, have you, you know, done anything else different, or have you been told that you needed to do anything else differently, or?
Well, everybody says eat healthy, eat green, eat this, eat that. I just eat the usual thing, whatever I want. The only side effect that I've noticed from the drug is my hair is thinning very much on top of my head. The rest of my hair is fine, but on top of my head, it's thinning quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
My doctor said it would stop that after about 2 years. So in July, it'll be 2 years, and I've got my fingers crossed that it stops and that it grows back in after that.
But you still need to take the medication
Well,
for 5 years, right? Yeah.
right.
And what would you say has been the hardest thing, around, your whole cancer journey?
Honestly, the hardest part was having them tell me I had it,
Mm.
because once I had the surgery done, I was like, I don't have cancer anymore. I'm good. I'm fine. And, I put it on Facebook and I made a blog about it, my cancer journey and everything like that. I made a blog about it. Everybody on Facebook was like, oh my God, you poor thing. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm
Okay.
a tough nut. I will fight. I'm going to fight this all the way. As a matter of fact, I have a bracelet that says never quit on it. And that's just my attitude. I'm a fighter. I survived being born at 1 pound, 8 ounces. I don't know what that is in
Kilo.
metric, but at 6 months, instead of 9 months like everybody else, I was born at 6 months at that little bit. And nobody thought I was going to survive that. I fooled them. And I'll survive this too.
Awesome. And have you found any positives on your journey?
Any what?
Positives on your journey. Have you found any positives?
Any positive things from that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to people who have cancer or have had the surgery or whatever, and telling them I did it, you can do it too.
Mm.
A girl that I know, she used to live here in Florida, now she lives in Texas. She is very vain about her breasts.
Mm.
She's like a 48D, or she's very well endowed, put it that way, very well endowed. And when she found out that she had breast cancer, she fell apart all over the internet. All you saw on Facebook was she's gonna die, she's got cancer, I've got breast cancer, I'm gonna die, oh my God. And after a few days of watching her spill all this gobbledygook on Facebook, I stepped in and I'm like, Jamie, shouldn't have said her name. Remember, I had breast cancer 2 years ago, remember? She's like, oh my God, yeah, I forgot all about that. And I said, you are going to be fine. Stop worrying. You are going to be fine. Do like I did, get the double mastectomy, bing, bang, boom, done. You can get the same size implants if you want to. Nobody's going to know the difference. She didn't listen. She opted for a lumpectomy instead because she wanted to keep her natural breasts. And now she's having to go through chemotherapy. She's having to go through radiation. She's still crying all over Facebook about how she doesn't feel good and how she feels lousy. And I'm like, you didn't listen to me, girl. You didn't listen to me.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
I can't force her. Of course, I can't force anyone. The only thing I can do is tell them what I did and how it worked for me.
Yeah.
And then it's up to those women to make that decision for themselves.
But sometimes, they depending on staging it is, they need to do the mastectomy, they need to have the mastectomy or the lumpectomy, whatever they choose, but they also need to have the radiation and the chemotherapy, even after, you know, even if you have the full mastectomy. It's really hard. I mean, I can't say because I didn't have breast cancer. You know, I had bowel cancer, but and I'm not a very vain person, but I would say that the first thing I thought when I got told that I needed to have chemotherapy was, am I going to lose my hair? And that was the first question I asked my oncologist. Because, you know, it is part of, you know, our femininity, right? The hair, the breast, and all of a sudden for you to learn how to live without that, it is quite difficult. So I think each one has to find, you know, a way to, you know, like to make peace with it, because, you know, once it happens, right? And you need to find a way to try to find a new you, if you like, right? So you can keep living a life without suffering every day. But yeah, it's definitely very challenging. So if you were to meet somebody today that was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer, what would you say to that person?
Not to worry, because it's not a death sentence anymore. People survive breast cancer in bigger numbers today than ever. Just do what the doctor tells you to do. Explore your options. Talk it over with the doctor. Decide what you want to do and what the doctor thinks is your best course of action, and then get it done and get past it and go back to living.
Awesome. Yeah. You know, you've got, especially with breast cancer, there is a lot of research that goes into breast cancer, and, you know, like I said, you know, I think everyone's first thought is, you know, as soon as you get told I've got cancer, is, you know, you think I'm gonna die, but there is plenty of people living out there, you know, that have gone through cancer like me and you. So I think that's, yeah, very, very good message. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. I'm going to put the details of your blog underneath, so people can, you know, want to have a look at it. And, you know, if they want to.
The blog is called Kathy Is All In.
Awesome. Perfect.
KathyIsAllIn.com.
Perfect. I'll put it on the comments below, but thank you so much for your time. And, you know, for sharing with us your story. It's always, I think, beneficial for people that have been diagnosed. You know, I remember when I was diagnosed, I wish I had spoken to somebody at that minute, you know, that had gone through the same thing as I was about to go through, because I was really scared. And so I think that is really important to share people's story that have come out the other side.
Yep. It was kind of funny because by the time I got breast cancer, my mom had passed away from metastasized breast cancer. So as we were walking back out to the car from the doctor's office, I looked up at the sky and I'm like, "Hey, Ma, I'm next." And my husband just looked at me like, "You have rocks in your head." I'm like, "No, just wanted to let her know that I didn't get out of it. I've got it too." And he's like, "Okay, whatever."
Awesome. Did you receive an answer from that? Did you feel that you received an answer from your comment to your mom?
I did. I felt like she gave me a hug.
Awesome.
I did. I felt like she gave me a hug.
That's
Whether
awesome.
she did or not, I don't know, but it felt like it.
That's awesome. Well, take care, Kathy. It was really good. Thank you so much for your time. Stay safe in times of uncertainty. Stay well, and
you too.
And thank you so much for your time.
Anytime. I really enjoyed this. Take care.
Take care.